Hey everybody, back for Act 2. It's the last night in Soho week, and we are going to be reviewing the movie Last Night in Soho, directed by Edgar Wright. Dane, if you could do us the honors of telling how our viewers can help us out here.
Well, you can honor us by subscribing!
Yes.
I don't know what the latest stat is, but at one point in time, 70% of our viewers had not subscribed. 30% out of 100 views, and 70% were not subscribers. So please subscribe. Please press the red button down below. Shimmy on over, do the quick step. If you're holding up your martini glass, just click right below.
And subscribe.
And we should point out, by the way, that if you comment by this date, you will win, or you will be put in the raffle to win a Blu-ray of The Last Night in Soho. And
I think you want this in your collection if you are a movie collector. So definitely make a comment in our comment section. Tell us, and we'll talk about what we want you to put in the comment section in just a little bit.
So what are we doing in Act 2?
Well, so Dane, this week we are reviewing the movie Last Night in Soho. And as I was putting together my review and kind of researching this movie, I noticed that a few critics put this movie on their overlooked or underrated movie list. They put this movie on. So that kind of had me ponder about what our favorite movies are that somehow might have been overlooked or underrated. Maybe it didn't get enough buzz. A lot of people don't know about it. Maybe it didn't perform well at the box office. But for this week's Cult Lords Top 8, it will be the top 8 most overlooked or underrated movies of all time. All right?
Sounds good. But first, need to have a little bit of this Soho liquor, lychee. We throw in a little bit of London Dry Gin. Bombay is a classic. Yeah. And this, I think, is a good way to start. Oh, you're going to put some extra gin in there?
I'm going to put a little bit of gin in here.
Really very sweet. You can go straight with it. Definitely needs to be chilled, but it's really great in cocktails.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Nice, tasty flavor.
I like it.
You like it a lot.
All right, Dane. So let's talk about
unknown movies. Not unknown, but
underrated or overlooked, underappreciated.
No one ever talks about him anymore.
That's right. That's right. So, we'll start off with you, Dane. What is your number 8?
My number 8.
Or do you have any honorable mentions?
I do have 2.
All right.
The first one, both action-type movies, completely different genres, though. 13 Assassins.
13 Assassins.
Japanese movie.
Okay.
13 samurai assassins shot during the feudal period, and these 13 Ronin are basically get together, and they are out to stop an evil, corrupted prince in the region who is absolutely despicable. Great movie, great action scenes, a lot of almost like could they have done that back then kind of thing?
Right.
But really well shot. I mean, it's subtitled. Maybe you can get it in dubbed, but really great movie, especially if you like the samurai genre. The second one is Smokin' Aces.
Smokin' Aces.
Another sort of assassin movie, but more like Crazy Assassins. Takes place mostly in Vegas. Yeah. But and it's talk about one heck of a cast. I mean, I don't know who's not in this movie. I don't know. But
I remember Alicia Keys specifically being in this movie.
She's like an assassin.
Yeah,
right?
Like she's like the most demure, artist. She's very prim and proper.
Yes.
Miss Keys. Beautiful, actually. But she's an assassin in this movie, right?
Right. She's a deadly assassin. And then I think Chris Pine, who is the current Captain Kirk, I think it was his first movie.
Really?
He's really young in this, and he plays like a crazy guy. Yeah. So, if you want to see some of these actresses in their first initial roles, or maybe, I don't know if has Alicia done anything else?
I don't think so.
Might be the only role she's ever done, and then stardom took over with music.
Those are good choices for your honorable mention.
Honorable mentions.
So what do you have at number 8?
The Florida Project.
I don't know that movie at all. What is
Willem Dafoe? Willem Dafoe.
Willem Dafoe.
It's a movie that came out in the last few years. Did not get any I mean, it might have been in the theaters for a while. We didn't see it in the theaters. We saw it after the fact. But it's basically the story is he's a superintendent in a Florida rental community, and it's all the people that are living paycheck to paycheck that he's kind of slightly helping out, but then also kind of protecting them. So there's a little bit of there's a religious undertone to it. Like he's probably a guard, like, you know, when you watch the movie, you'll think there's something going on here. There's like a metaphor happening where he's maybe a guardian angel.
Oh, okay.
Like he's like Michael, and all these are like the sinners that are in purgatory. So it's
The Florida Project.
Yeah. So
Okay.
excellent movie. It's obviously a serious movie with some, you know, light humorous moments, but if you like kind of like your, you know, serious drama that has like a maybe I wouldn't say religious, but just a metaphoric undertone to it, a well done movie, and you know, you'll be touched. You might even tear a little bit like I did.
Ooh, okay.
So that's my number 8. What's your number 8?
All right, my number 8 is something I'll get to in just a second, but I wanted to talk about my 3 honorable mentions. First, I have Eyes Wide Shut. And the reason why I'm putting it as honorable mention, I've mentioned this movie before on other top 8 lists. Okay.
Yeah, Kubrick.
It was a Kubrick film. You know, everybody, when they think of Kubrick, they're thinking of 2001. They're thinking of The Shining. You know, they're thinking of
Clockwork Orange.
Clockwork Orange. They're thinking of these movies. They're not thinking about this Tom Cruise, Nicole Kidman movie. I thought it was great. It's a love it or hate it kind of movie, but I loved it. Another one I just talked about recently in The French Dispatch was The Count of Monte Cristo.
Yes.
With Jim Caviezel.
Yeah.
You know, this
Definitely overlooked.
Yeah, it wasn't a big hit. You know, a lot of people don't even know about it. But whenever I've had people that I've recommended watch this movie, they all come back and told me that was a great movie. You know, a great movie.
Right.
Okay, and then the last one is called Den of Thieves. Do you know this one?
No, I don't know that one.
So this is about like a bank heist where Pablo Schreiber, do you know who that is? He's the character that now is the lead in Halo on the Paramount Plus channel.
Oh, I don't have that channel.
Yeah.
That's only for the elites.
And Gerard Butler is the FBI agent that's on his trail trying to stop him.
Okay.
And Ice Cube's son.
He's in that too?
Yeah, is on this.
Is he, what's Ice Cube's son's name?
O'Shea Jackson.
Oh, I thought it was going to be something like, you know.
Ice Cubelet or something like
Yes.
that? Okay. Ice Chip?
Ice Chip. Here's a chip off the old Ice Cube.
No, so Den of Thieves, really good movie as my honorable mention. But for my number 8, I'm going to go with a comedy. And to me, this is a great comedy. And a lot of people have not seen this movie. It's Bowfinger with Eddie Murphy and Steve Martin.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's so funny because Steve Martin needs to make a movie, and he's raised a budget because he's told people that he's going to get Eddie Murphy's character involved in the movie, who's a big Hollywood celeb, but he's never talked to Eddie Murphy's character in this. So what they decide to do is take footage of him like doing stuff, you know, walking around town. They take footage of him, and they're editing a movie based on all this footage that they get of Eddie Murphy's
So it's
character.
like a reality show kind of.
Being alone by myself in the chamber with it was really helpful to me. So helpful. Freddie, where the hell? Freddie. Hey, Freddie. Hey, you. Kincaid. Freddie. Freddie. You heard me, Kincaid. Freddie, don't play with me, man. Oh, nice try, Kincaid. Freddie. Don't act dumb. Where's the plutonium? Hey, listen, that plutonium is mine and it's been registered to be used for religious purposes.
But here's the thing. Eddie Murphy plays 2 characters in this, right?
Oh.
So what happens is there's another character played by Eddie Murphy. He's a very nerdy guy and like very shy, but he looks like the movie star Eddie Murphy, right?
Right.
So what they do is they decide to to use him as kind of like filling in the spots where they don't have the real actor in it. Do you remember? And like,
so he's like the butt double?
Like the stand-in like for certain scenes and like that.
I've seen this, but it's been so long.
Oh, it is hilarious. So,
although I do remember it was probably Eddie Murphy's best acting job.
It is. He is great in this movie.
Yeah.
Eddie Murphy is great. I mean, he has put out some duds since his big hits like Beverly Hills Cop and Trading Places. Those were all great movies.
Yep.
The first Coming to America, but you know, then lately he's been putting out either like kiddie shows or bad movies. So
yeah, I know his first what was it called, Best Defense? That was the worst movie, and they were like, "Why'd you do that?" Because they paid me like $50 million.
Well, no, they didn't pay him much then, but he was not rich back then. So.
Well, they paid him a lot of money, and so it's kind of like Will Smith doing Wild Wild West for $20 million.
25. Yeah.
25. But I do remember being super impressed with Eddie Murphy's acting style. Yeah. Like, wow, that he really put the effort in here this time.
Right, exactly.
So maybe that's what he needs to be in movies where he's playing himself in two different roles.
Yeah, it was good. So that's my number 8.
All right, number 8.
Bowfinger. So what is your number 7?
My number 7 is Thief.
Thief? Well,
James Caan.
Wow.
This is going back to like 77, 78. And he's a thief. He's an independent contractor, as he loves to point out. But it's a super gritty movie. Another one of those New York and the French Connection vein. Very, very, gritty New York type of scenario. But basically what ends up happening is that he's trying to get his last job in, and then the mafia go in there and they say, well, no, we got one more for you. And then he's like stuck with them. And he has to basically battle himself out of this tie-in with the mafia, because ultimately they're trying to double cross him. And as we all know, James Caan is not the nicest guy to work with.
No.
He's talking to you. Answer him. Answer him. Mike! You shut up!
So he's going to be definitely, if you want some hardcore nitty fight scenes and some very pissed off James Caan, this is the movie for you. But overlooked, you never hear anyone ever talk about it.
No.
Well done.
Yeah.
So lots of mystery, intrigue, and pure action. I don't want to talk too much about it, you don't want to give it away. But.
No, I mean, I haven't seen this movie. I don't know this movie. So, I'll definitely have to put it on my Blu-ray purchase list and then
It's got a cool cover.
Put it into the queue. So.
You ever see the cover for it? It's a good one. It's one of those you want to put up on get a poster for it. We might have to do that.
All right.
So what's your number 7?
Oh, no, number 8. Oh, it's number 7. Yes, I'm sorry, number 7. My number 8 was Bowfinger. We've already covered that ground. Yeah. So my number 7 is a movie called 13 Hours. Do you know that? So
it sounds familiar. But
so the guy who plays Jim on The Office, what's his name again? I can't think of his name at the moment. John Krasinski.
Yes.
John
Boy.
He plays one of the ex-military men that happened to be in Benghazi when the Benghazi raid in Libya happened.
This is the one where he kind of put himself on the map as a professional actor.
Yeah, right? Yeah, because he'd always been a comedic actor. This one he got serious, right? And so it's based on the true story, and it was during the Obama administration when this happened. But our Libyan base, which was a secret base in Libya, was kind of exposed.
Why might it be on this map when it comes up?
Let's see. Yeah. So it's in Libya, North Africa.
It is right there.
Yeah.
Thanks.
And what happened was there was a secret CIA base in Libya that nobody knew about, and it was off the books. Like senators didn't even know about this.
Okay.
And what happened was it was exposed, and when the Libyans found this out, they surrounded the compound and they were going to take out everybody there. And one of our U.S. emissaries was there. He got killed in real life, and a lot of people got killed, and they were calling in for help, and they didn't get the help that they needed on time. So they literally had to defend this compound for 24 hours, and you see it at night.
13 hours?
It's, well, I don't know. It's
probably 13
It's probably
hours.
13 hours. That's a good point. That's a good point.
Why would they call it?
Yeah.
They say 13.
Well, see, they called it
more like
13
24.
hours, but they had it defended for 24.
They were good for 12.
But the thing is, why I think this kind of went under the radar is this movie kind of came out at the same time American Sniper came out, you know, with Bradley Cooper. And then that was up for an Oscar. And then also Lone Survivor with Mark Wahlberg came out. And so, and then this movie kind of came out. And because those two were higher profile movies, I think this one kind of ran under the radar. But it is so good. It's based on a true story. And when you watch this firefight that they have all night long with the Libyans, oh my gosh.
Right.
Wow.
Well, it sounds like you're on the edge of your seat the whole time.
Great movie, great movie.
Is it around the same time as Hurt Locker? Did that come out?
Hurt Locker was a little earlier. This is this is later.
Sounds like that one.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
So that's number 7 for you.
Number 7.
I'm going for the comedy in number 6. Kingpin.
Kingpin. Oh, I love
Bill
Kingpin.
Murray. I
love Kingpin.
Underrated classic on his part.
Oh yeah.
With Woody Harrelson, kind of when he was still in the early movie stages, but this is a Farrelly Brothers movie before There's Something About Mary.
Right.
So they were still kind of getting their sorting out how their jokes were going to go. Some of these were a little bit, you've seen them in other things, but there's just so many funny parts in this movie. And the premise is that a guy who's got a fake hand, he was a famous bowler, and I forgot what happened, how he got his hand stuck in the bowling, the thing that brings the bowling ball, and he wants to make a comeback. And he has to, of course, road trip it.
And that was Woody Harrelson, right?
Yeah, Woody Harrelson. And then there's a hottie in that movie, too. I can't think of her name.
And then Randy Quaid plays
Randy Quaid.
Hilarious character. He's like
a Quaker,
Amish or something.
Or Amish, yeah.
He's Amish, so he has like the Amish outfit, but he's like a natural at bowling, right?
Right.
And, like he'd never played before, and he was like a natural. And then Bill Murray,
Bill Murray with that huge comb over.
Do you remember his bowling ball had like a big old like goldfish in it or something?
Right, it was such an over-the-top thing. And then, of course, there's the rent.
You're
going to be paying me rent. And I was like, ah!
Number 2, you still owe me another month's rent.
But a really funny movie, and most people have never seen this movie. I mean, I think
it is so funny. It is rip-roaring funny.
Highly recommend.
Not on my list, but that is a great movie. So
number 6 for you.
So number 6 for me is a horror movie called The Nun. Okay, so now you've heard of The Conjuring world?
Yep, right.
So this is a prequel to that.
I've seen the poster for it. It has a nun on the poster. Right?
Oh yeah, it's pretty scary actually.
Doesn't she have like demon eyes or something in the poster? If I remember right?
Yeah, we'll try to show this picture of the nun.
Well, we're putting them all up here, but
what was interesting about this is it's somewhere in like I don't know like the countryside of Czechoslovakia or Transylvania or something like that. Romania, something like that. And there's like a monastery there that had they thought had been abandoned. So a father had heard that there was some sort of evil presence there. So he travels to this monastery to check it out, and he takes a nun with him to go check it out.
Just a random, he picks somebody? Or
I can't remember how they get connected, but they go to check this out. And when they go there, they hadn't had any communication with us. It was actually it's not a monastery. It's what do they call it?
Seminary?
No, for a nun.
Yeah, it's a monastery.
Nunnery?
A nunnery? Well, I guess you could call it that, yeah.
Or whatever.
Cloister.
Whatever it is.
One of those.
I'm sorry, I'm not Catholic, so I don't know.
Cloister.
Right. So
nunnery.
When they go there,
take me to the nunnery.
They find out that there are a bunch of nuns there still congregating and still doing stuff. And they're like, why has there been no communication here? And what happens was it was like a secret kind of,
like a cult?
Well, so what happened was
the worst secret nun cults.
They were tasked with guarding an ancient evil that was in there that they were protecting.
Sounds like the Keep.
Oh, it was amazing. And like there was a scene, I think we talked about this before when we were talking about voodoo, but like they have a monastery, like seminary or cemetery out there, and on all of the headstones, you all see a string to a bell, right? So if somebody is buried and they are not dead and they're alive, they're able to pull the string and ring the bell. To let people know, I'm not dead.
Right. I'm not dead yet.
There is a scene in there where the priest hears a bell ringing. So he goes out to the cemetery and he hears the bell ringing. He sees the bell ringing.
That would be so creepy. Was there a nice fog? It was like midnight.
There was a nice fog going on. And then suddenly...
There's always a nice fog.
Suddenly all the bells start ringing. Ooh. And he's freaking out. And then before you know it, he's in a casket getting buried, and he starts ringing the bell like, help!
Somebody! Let me out!
And it's a very scary movie.
So it sounds like I should put that on the list.
And you know what? It's from the Conjuring world, but you don't have to watch any of those Conjuring movies to watch this movie and enjoy it. And there's like a lot of history in it. I've actually tried to get my parents to watch this one just to say, hey, you should watch this one. They don't want to watch this one. They're like, oh, we don't do horror like that.
Take me to the nunnery.
Yes.
Well, we'll put that on our anniversary, by the way, is Halloween.
Oh.
So when that comes up, we'll watch that at home.
Okay.
My family will watch it. The Nunnery.
Yeah, the nun. Yeah, and it doesn't get all the hype like all the Conjuring and the other movies, but this one was good.
Well, I mean, as soon as you started saying Romanian like graveyards and like a secret cloister and all that kind of stuff, it's like I know I've seen trailers for this, but you don't get that sense whatsoever. It's just it seems more like it's like a murderous nun.
Right.
So
and the actress
much more intriguing.
And the actress that plays
maybe we should do trailers.
The nun. Oh yeah, the actress that plays the nun. When you see her in real life, you could see like, oh my gosh, she has this face that if you put a little makeup on her, she's gonna be scary.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, you'll see her. I'll show a picture of her.
Another version of a butter face. It's a creepy face.
I guess creepy face. All right.
All right.
So that was number 6 for you.
So number 5 for me is Stardust.
Oh, I like that movie. You're picking good movies that I love.
Strange, but you don't have it on your list.
But I don't have my list.
And I'm not looking. I'm just guessing.
But my girls and I love that movie.
Yeah, so I think that was another underrated one. I mean, you got Michelle Pfeiffer in there.
Yeah, Robert De Niro.
De Niro's in it.
Yeah.
I forget what the British actor, the main character. He's a now known. Actually, that British. Actually, I think that actor is the guy who played Daredevil. Isn't that actor?
Charlie
something or another, if I remember correctly. I mean, he was young, so I'm not connecting the two. But absolutely, I mean, it's a fantasy. It's not sci-fi.
Charlie Cox, that's it.
It is, yeah.
And Claire Danes is in it.
Oh, that's right, Claire Danes. And it's a great, I don't want to say it's a family movie, but I mean, there's some serious topics in there. But basically, well thought out fantasy movie. Great screenplay, all your classic main character objective and all that kind of stuff mixed in with, like we said, great acting. But the premise of it is that a star has fallen from the sky, and when this is a magical world. The star is Michelle Pfeiffer. So the stars are all actually living beings.
The stars are like fairies or something like that.
Right, they're like living beings. Yeah. And of course, when one has fallen down, the evil element wants to go capture one of them and steal their power. Whereas the good element, which is Robert De Niro with a giant like blimp.
I don't think that the star was Michelle Pfeiffer? No, I think Michelle Pfeiffer was the queen who wanted the essence.
Oh, that's right. I forgot. She's the bad person in this one. Claire Danes is a star. That's right. I'm sorry. It's been a while. But still an outstanding movie. And like I said, just a very interesting, well thought out story.
Can I just say a couple of other people are in this movie?
Yeah, go ahead. There's a lot.
Peter O'Toole's in this movie. Henry Cavill is in this movie. I don't remember him because it's been a while since I've seen this. Ian McKellen and Sienna Miller is in this movie.
Oh, that's right. Sienna Miller's in it.
So huge cast, right?
Huge cast.
Yeah, and it's a really, really good movie.
But you never hear anyone ever talking about it because it falls into that weird like fantasy realm, and it's kind of like Willow. I mean, you know,
or like Labyrinth from the 80s. You know what I mean?
Yeah, right. So outstanding movie. Your kids would love it. You know, so it's nice to watch the whole family watch it. But
I'm telling you, if you got
maybe
girls,
not really young.
If you got girls, my girls loved it, and we watched it.
But it's not like a movie made for girls. I mean, obviously, but you have strong female characters with Claire Danes and Michelle Pfeiffer playing the evil person.
Yeah.
And then obviously all the other people we talked about. So recommend that movie.
Good choice for 5.
Number 5. What's your number 5?
My number 5 is a movie called Blue Crush.
I think I know what that one is. It's like a surfer movie.
It is. Yeah. It is. So it is a fun, like, cool movie. Kate Bosworth is the star.
That's who it is, yeah.
And she plays like a local that lives in Hawaii, who doesn't have parents. She's living with a little sister, raising her. So she's working in like guest resort hotels as a maid, but her passion is surfing. So like she maids like, you know, through the day. So on the weekend she can go out and surf with her friends, and she wants to be a professional surfer, right?
Okay.
Well, there's a professional football team that's there for like an all-star game.
A real football? Well, you mean soccer?
No, like American football.
Oh, okay.
But it's like a fake team that they made up, you know, for the movie. But anyways, the quarterback and her kind of hit it off, and so he hires her to teach him how to surf. Meanwhile, none of the local surfers like this guy, you know, surfing on the local beaches.
Right.
They tell him like you need to go to the tourist beaches because the local beaches are for the locals in Hawaii, right? So she teaches, and like there are some amazing surf scenes in this, but he encourages her to go for her dream and be a professional surfer. And they have actual real life professional surfers in this movie who are having a lot
of surfing montages with
a lot of
real
surfing
surfers.
Oh yeah, and like the music is great. They play a lot of Bob Marley and like reggae and all. It's a great movie. And you know what? Once again, this is one where me and my girls we watched this one like 3 times. Yeah.
I mean, I know of the movie. I've never watched it.
Oh, it is so good. And you know what? You know, overlooked. But if you watch it, I promise you'll love Blue Crush.
Is that her first or second movie?
It was like one of her very first movies.
Because she still had some meat on her bones. She got really thin.
She did get really thin. Yeah, she was in really fine shape in this movie. So,
yes, I'm sure there's a lot of bikini scenes.
Oh, there is. So, all right. So Blue Crush.
We're on to number 4 now.
We're on to number 4.
So for me, it's The Gray.
The Gray.
Liam Neeson movie.
Yeah, that's a good movie. In fact, I just picked that up on a secondhand store. I didn't have it in my collection, and it was like $3.99.
Oh yeah,
used.
It's an unviewed gem. I mean, it's Liam Neeson again. You know, he's still in all of his movies lately. He's been kind of playing the same character.
Thing, yeah.
But
this was a little bit different.
This one was different, and it's more of there's like religious undertones in this one too. The premise is that he is a sharpshooter who works up in Alaska covering the oil rig workers who are getting attacked by wolves. Because the wolves up there are, you know, obviously starving. And they see these 1 or 2 guys out in this remote rig.
It's any wild because it's wolves and bears, and they talked about other things too.
And so the movie starts out with setting that up, and they all are like, okay, we're done on our tour. Because everyone goes up there for 6 months at a time. They come back. And the plane crashes in the middle of the Alaskan wilderness, and most of them die except for him and a few survivors. So it becomes a giant survival piece trying to get back to civilization, but the wolves are chasing him the whole time.
Yeah, you can hear them at night.
And so it becomes man versus nature.
Yeah.
But it's another one of those where the critics kind of, overlooked.
I would love to discuss how this movie ends, but it gives up way too much. But it's
I'm avoiding that.
Very interesting and talkable ending to this movie.
I might have seen this together.
We might have seen this together.
I think I saw it at Yorktown, and
I think we did see this together.
I think we did.
So
we probably had this exact conversation together.
Yeah.
If we had done a full review, that would be the conversation.
Yeah.
So, Liam Neeson at his best. If you love like the outdoor cinematography, that
survival
mode,
how to survive
mode, and obviously wolves. Can't go wrong with that. So, all right. So, what's your number 4?
You can go wrong if you're out alone with them. But all right. So that was your number 4. Mm-hmm. My number 4 is called Escape Plan.
Escape Plan.
Yeah. So this is.
I want another one. It sounds familiar.
This is not. I don't know what the year was, but it's not too long ago. Plan. And people probably wrote this off because it stars Sylvester Stallone and Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Wow, and, I really don't know this one.
Yeah, it came out in 2013. And people, when they see Escape Plan and they see Sylvester Stallone and Arnold Schwarzenegger, they're going to say, these are two has-been, washed up actors. And a lot of people have not seen this. But I remember when I saw this, I think I rented this.
Yeah.
And I wasn't expecting much. I really wasn't. I had low expectations.
I would definitely come into it with low expectations.
And this movie was fantastic. And I ended up calling friends. I called my brothers. I called my parents. I said, you got to watch this movie. And it's actually really good.
Okay.
So what it is Sylvester Stallone is an expert on the prison system and security. So like prisons will hire him to go and like do evaluations of their prisons to see like how is it, what do we need to do to make sure that people can't escape? What holes are we missing? So he goes in and he consults with all of them on their prisons and he tells them what they want.
Okay.
Well, then something happens where he kind of gets like knocked out.
When he was on site?
Well, something happens where he's like knocked out and drugged and he wakes up and he's in a prison. And what he finds out is this is a prison that's on a remote island that nobody knows about. And he's just been put there. And he's like, all of a sudden, he's like, he doesn't understand why first. But while in this prison, he meets Arnold Schwarzenegger.
We'll make some friends. You're gonna need them.
Back away. Who were you before you came in here?
I break out of prisons for a living.
You don't look that smart.
You don't either.
Who's a prisoner.
Okay.
And so they start trying to piece together like why they're prisoners. And Arnold is like a multi-millionaire billionaire. But he, they start talking about, is there any way to escape? And Arnold goes, oh, no, I've been here for a while. There's no way to escape. And then Sylvester Stallone goes, oh, no, there's always a way to escape. So what they do is he starts casing out the guards, casing out the prison, looking at everything, how it's built, and devising an escape plan for him to get out. And then Arnold Schwarzenegger goes, if you can get me out up on land, I have the ability to make a phone call to get us like a helicopter there. Okay. So they go through an elaborate escape plan to try and get out of this prison. And it is so good because you're so involved in like, well, how are they going to get out? And how are they casing the guards? They're looking at their habits. They're looking at where all the cameras are. They're looking at what the routines are. It's a great movie. And Sylvester Stallone and Arnold Schwarzenegger play great roles. And
better than Sabotage?
Oh yeah, way better than Sabotage.
We haven't done a Stallone movie yet, but Sabotage, look it up, previous review.
So I highly recommend Escape Plan. Now, since then, there's been an Escape Plan 2 and Escape Plan 3. Oh. Don't waste your time. Just stick with Escape Plan. That's the only one you ever need to see, and you'll be happy that you did. So
that's not one of those things you can repeat. I mean, how many times you can say the guy who is the master escape artist somehow gets drugged and winds up in another prison? I'm assuming 2 and 3 were somewhat of a similar.
Yeah.
All right.
So
sounds good.
What's your number 3?
My number 3 is Walk Hard, the Dewey Cox story.
Oh, that's a good movie. Funny.
But most people haven't seen it because I think it's John C. Reilly at his best, probably in one of his best roles. It is really kind of, it's not a pure spoof, but it's a super takeoff or inspiration from the Walk Hard,
Walk the Line.
Walk the Line, which was the
Joaquin Phoenix and Reese Witherspoon as Johnny Cash.
Right. So I would highly recommend you see that one first.
Yes.
Walk the Line.
Which, by the way, I'm just going to say, I almost put Walk the Line on this list.
Oh, yeah?
I almost did. So that would have been interesting if I put Walk the Line and then you put the antithesis to that, walk Hard, right?
Yes. So, but it's so much funnier when you've seen Walk the Line.
Yes.
Because it's a same storyline about a country western singer who's having trouble, but then obviously there's a lot of comedic moments, and one of the funniest parts in that movie was you didn't expect it when the phone rings. I don't even know if I want to go into it.
All right,
but all I can say is my sister-in-law was sitting next to me in the movie theater. This was in your area, your neck of the woods, and something walks on screen, and she was like, "Wah!" You know what scene I'm talking about?
Yeah,
when the guy's like, "Hey, there's a phone call for you."
They show some full frontal nudity, don't they? Yeah.
Because she was like,
Yeah.
"Ah!"
Yeah, it's
There's
pretty
a phone
funny.
call, and he's showing, let's see, I don't know what else you want to call it. His saxophone was hanging out.
Yeah. And they show full frontal nudity in this, so yes.
Scared the crap out of you.
Yes.
But it was
it in 3D? Did you have glasses on?
Yeah, we had the 3D. Extra sound, No, it was the IMAX.
Oh, okay.
IMAX 3D.
Yeah.
You're like, ah! So that was mine. Number 3 for you. What do you got?
Number 3 for me, we're going comedy. We're going Black Dynamite.
Oh, you've talked about this
I have
one,
talked about this with you recently. I don't know if I've talked about this on screen, but this is also a spoof of all of the blaxploitation movies of the early 70s, like Cotton Comes to Harlem and Shaft, Cleopatra Jones,
Black Dracula.
Blackula.
Sorry.
No, it's called Blackula. So all those blaxploitation movies, this is Black Dynamite, and he's like a former FBI agent, that's out to help the hood.
I'm declaring war on anybody who sells drugs in our community.
But Black Dynamite, I sell drugs in the community.
He killed my best dealer. I want him dead now.
So if you crave satisfaction, then dig this action. Guaranteed to put your ass in traction.
And, it's got all of the stereotypes from those movies just done over the top. Michael J. White, he is excellent as Black Dynamite, and he's a kung fu master too. So like he shows up in a yellow outfit with his nunchucks, you know what I mean, and
leather outfit with a huge collar.
Gosh, yeah. And then the bad guys are like the stereotypical white dudes, you know what I mean, that are out to get Black Dynamite, and it's the man, that he's fighting.
Of course, fighting the man.
Yeah,
and he's doing it all with a huge afro.
Yes.
Which we've argued that Wesley Snipes should come back and do another Blade, but Blade, the way it was
76.
done... Blade 76! The way it was done in the original comic book.
Yeah, like we talked about the original comics. Blade has a huge afro because it's from the early to mid 70s.
75 or something, yeah.
And then so we were like, we want a retro Blade. With,
I think that would really work, actually. Really well.
I think it would.
I mean,
I think it would.
The 70s are back, and even though this movie's about the 60s that we're talking about. But anyways.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So for me, Black Dynamite is so funny. There was some scenes in there that, I laughed so hard I was almost crying. It's just so funny.
All right. Well, I'll have to put it on the list. I have not seen it, although he does, Michael J. White?
Yeah.
Is that his name? He makes an appearance in the Joker Batman.
That's right. And he was the lead.
A very small appearance.
He was the lead character for Todd McFarlane's Spawn.
Oh, yeah. That's right. I forgot about that.
Yeah.
I was kind of surprised he played such a small character in the Batman movie.
Yeah.
This is Dark Knight Rises?
He sat across from the table from Eric Roberts, who played a small role.
Yeah, so, you're right. Well, even Eric, I could make the same argument.
Yeah.
Like, how do they get these really high-end actors to play these very tiny roles?
Yeah.
So, all right. Well, that was your number 3. So we're down to number 2. We're dropping a deuce. I've got Better Off Dead.
Better Off Dead, John Cusack.
John Cusack, his sister's in it too.
I want my $5.
Want my $5. French fries.
Yes.
French dressing. Peru. We should have had a bottle of Peru, Perrier.
Oh, look at that. Somebody just threw away a perfectly good white boy.
Man, now that's a real shame when folks be throwing away a perfectly good white boy like that.
Remember that? Somebody threw away
There's so many lines in this movie. Yeah, right.
And then the Van Halen with what's the thing where he's like doing the hamburgers and flipping them, and then the hamburgers. There's like live stop action in this.
Yes.
Remember that?
Yeah.
And then it's Van Halen saying, "Everybody wants some too." And then the guy from Porky's is the name of the owner of that burger place.
Yeah, you'll be happy to know that I don't just have the Blu-ray, I have the Steel Book of Better Off Dead.
The Steel
I have the Steel Book edition of Better Off Dead.
You have to, but that was a great movie, and you never hear it talked about. I mean, It's such a great comedy. It's such a little view into the 80s life for, California, Southern California. But the premise is that Lane, his name's Lane, is wanting to hook up with the hottie in high school, the blonde who shows up in a lot of other movies. There was a lot of like typical blondes in those type of movie genre, 80s genre, and decides the only way to impress her is to ski down, because he's on the ski team, this really, really dangerous ski jump in, I don't know what mountain range they're in. Yeah. And then, because he's kind of a geek and all his buddies, Booger makes an appearance for the first time.
Yeah.
Do you realize
from Revenge of the Nerds?
Revenge of the Nerds, Booger. I forgot the guy's name. Yeah. Great job. He wears a top hat the whole time in this movie too. Yeah. But a French immigrant student is staying at the kid's house across the street. And he ends up, of course, love interest, and she helps him rebuild his Camaro. Yeah. But a great movie. And I forgot who the big guy who's the nerd that lives across the street that the French immigrant is staying there. That act, you know what I'm talking about? The son who is always very handsy with her, and he has the glasses. Yeah, it's somebody well known, and he shows up in another movie like later, and I can't think of the guy's name, but great movie. If you guys haven't seen it, highly recommend. Nice comedy. Anyone who's grown up in the 80s will definitely associate with this movie.
So that's your number 2.
My 2.
All right. My number 2 is a movie called The Mist.
Oh, yes.
So this is a Stephen King book called The Mist. But this movie was done by Frank Darabont, who he was the director of Shawshank Redemption, The Green Mile. He also was the director for the first season of The Walking Dead.
Oh, yeah, that's right. You told me about that.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
But he does The Mist. And what's amazing about it is horrifying because, sometimes the thing that is the scariest the most is not the things you see, it's the things you don't see, as they always say. That's a cliche, I know. but so The Mist comes in over this small town, and out in what you see is a small grocery store where people have, gathered because if you go out in the mist, people are, showing up dead, or, they, you see appendages everywhere, and it's like huge, giant, like insect-looking creatures that are out there, and you hear all these stories that are gone. The main character is Thomas Jane. You know who he is?
From Hung.
Yes.
And also The Punisher.
And The Punisher. So he's the main character. But what's amazing is, so this is done by Frank Darabont, and it was done like 2 years before The Walking Dead came out. So guess who's in this? Do you remember? There's like 4 characters from The Walking Dead. There's the guy who played... who was the old guy in season 1?
Oh, yeah.
That always imparted like wisdom. Was it not
the guy who gets his head chopped off in the very first season?
Dale?
Yeah,
is that
Dale.
his name?
Yeah. Dale.
All right, so Dale is in there. And then Carol, who is Melissa McBride, is in there. And then, gosh, there's a famous blonde actor that was in there in season 1, and she was in
female blonde actor.
Yeah, I can't remember.
Oh yeah, and then she was on for multiple seasons.
Yeah,
right? The sister.
Yeah,
I can't.
Yeah, she had the sister.
Right.
But I can't think of her name right now. We'll put it up here for you who this was, and then there was a couple more in there. So, so I can't remember who it was, but we'll put them up here. But it's interesting that Frank Darabont, who would then go on to do Walking Dead, probably met all these actors and actresses in The Mist, put them in. But The Mist doesn't get enough credit as a great horror movie. It is truly scary. And interesting tidbit.
Another one for Halloween.
Frank Darabont changed the ending of the book to create his own ending. And so a lot of Stephen King readers who went and saw the movie did not see this ending coming, freaked out. But Stephen King even said he liked that ending better.
Well,
so
that's a sign of a great artist. If you can improve on the original, where even the original artist was like, I like your version better.
I like your ending better because it was different and good. So, for me, number 3 is The Mist. Or no, number 2. Now, we're going to come up to number 1, but I just want to say something here before we celebrate your number 1 and my number 1. We went out to lunch earlier, and I said, I would almost bet you money that we are not going to have one single movie in common on this list.
That's true.
Because I said this.
We were close.
We were so diverse in this. I bet you there's no way we're going to have anything. And so far, he's had 7 movies, and not one of them were on my list. I've had 7 movies, not one of them were on your list. I can't imagine we're going to put number 1 the same. But I'm anxious to hear your number 1. So let's celebrate
number 1.
The number 1 most underrated, overlooked movie of all time. What do you have, Dane?
I have In Bruges.
In Bruges. Colin Farrell.
Colin Farrell, yep. They're in Bruges, which is in...
Not France.
Netherlands.
Netherlands, okay.
Yeah, everyone hates the Dutch. But kind of like a murder mystery slash detective. No, it's not actually, no, that's not. It's a murder, 2 guys that are hitmen. So it's a hitman movie. They're in Britain, and I think they want to get out of the mob, or they did something wrong. I haven't seen it for a while, but I mean, it was just such an outstanding movie. We've recommended it to many of our friends, and they've loved it too. In fact, one of our favorite friend couples, they actually saw that movie, said, we're going to go visit there.
Just because of the movie?
Because of the movie.
Yeah.
And they went out and they did a month. They went out and spent in that area, staying in the hotel. Maybe it's not the same hotel, but just going and visiting all the different things that happen in this movie. So that's the great thing about the movie, is that you get to see these amazing buildings and architecture and this historical area, but then it's mixed in with this kind of like high chase hitman scene with some comedic moments.
Right.
I suppose you got a gun up there? Yeah. Well, what are we going to do? We can't stand here all night.
Why don't you both put your guns down? Go home.
Don't be stupid. This is the shootout.
And so,
well, you know what?
But basically, it's a redemption piece for
It's been a long time since I've seen it. I own it, but I did see it already. I can't remember too much about it, but I do remember when it was done, because it was recommended to me, and maybe you recommended it to me. But I thought, oh, that was pretty good. That was really good. So it is I believe it's a good movie. So,
it's Colin Farrell, maybe his second movie?
Yeah.
Because he's really young.
He's very young.
And then I forgot who the other main actor is in that movie, because it's somebody, there's 2 assassin guys.
It's the guy that, he played a bad guy in Christopher Nolan's Batman Begins.
He plays,
yeah.
Oh, the mafia guy?
Yeah, the mafia guy.
Yeah, in that one.
Isn't that the guy?
No, actually, I forgot. Brendan Gleeson. Ralph Fiennes is in this. I forgot that he's in this. Clemence Poesi, Jordan Prentice, Rudy Blum, his name is Jeremy Renier, and so the other guy, I know who you're thinking about, but no, it's not him.
It's not him? Okay, no. I thought it was.
So this is Brendan Gleeson is the guy you're kind of thinking about here, him.
Yeah.
He was the other guy.
Yeah.
But
he was the king in the movie Troy.
Yes, he was the king in Troy. But really well done movie. Highly, underappreciated. Most people have never heard of the movie, except, people that are exceptionally up on their movie trivia and viewing habits. What are you up to now? 5,000? Over 5,000 yet?
Over 5,000.
He's hit the number?
Yeah, we're at 5,000 entries or like pieces of physical media in the library, but 5,500 titles. Because there's some like Blu-rays that might have like 2 movies on it, or I might have a box collection that has like 5 movies in it. But so that's called one.
Oh, that's only counts as one.
It's one entry, but it's got 5 titles, right?
Okay.
So
okay, well, cool. But yeah, great movie.
No,
highly recommend if anyone has not seen it. So you want to go to that part of the world.
Absolutely.
So what's your number 1?
My number 1 is not in Bruges. So we were
I knew it wouldn't be.
Totally unique.
I thought it was going to be like Blade or something like that.
No. My number 1 is Scott Pilgrim versus the World. And the interesting about this, the director of Scott Pilgrim is Edgar Wright, the director of Last Night in Soho.
Whoa. So
what a tie-in, right?
That is a tie-in. Wow.
Yeah. I bet you didn't see that coming.
I did not see that. I'll buy that for $1. No, I did not see that coming.
This was a movie that starred Michael Cera, and it's based on a comic book, Scott Pilgrim versus the World, right?
Yeah.
And I'm not a fan of the comic book because I don't like the comic style.
Yeah, it kind of looks like Kathy.
Yeah, it's like a hokey,
right?
Yeah, kitty-looking thing.
This is one of those where the second artist, did it vastly improved on the original artist.
Yeah. But you know what? They made this movie to look like a comic book.
It is such a great job.
And it is so well put together. First of all, there's amazing music in it. It's got an amazing cast of people that weren't big stars at the time. So you have Michael Cera, Mary Elizabeth Winstead.
Married to Obi-Wan now.
You've got Anna Kendrick.
Yes.
Kieran Culkin. You got Allison Pill.
Oh, yeah?
You've got Aubrey Plaza. You've got Jason Schwartzman.
I know, all these people are really well known now after making this movie.
You've got Chris Hemsworth. Not Chris Hemsworth, Chris Evans. Chris Evans.
And Superman's in this too. What's that guy's name? The weird in between.
Brandon Routh.
Yeah, Brandon Routh's in there too. Well, he plays the boyfriend. Well, one of the boyfriend he has to beat up.
So what this is Scott Pilgrim meets this girl, and he really likes her, but she has a curse on her. That somebody had placed on her, and that is, in order to date her, you must defeat her 7 evil exes.
Man, we gotta go.
What? Why?
I used to date that clown.
And action.
Oh my God.
Hey. The only thing keeping me and her apart are the 2 minutes it's gonna take to kick your ass.
You dated a famous guy?
In 9th grade, we had drama. Actually, it might have been math. I just remember there being a lot of drama.
Hey!
He was a snot-nosed little brat. He just followed me around.
He had snot in his nose? But he's famous.
Hey! I'm talking to you, Scott Pilgrim!
He's famous and he talked to me.
The only thing keeping me and her apart is the 2 minutes it's gonna take to kick your ass.
Can I have your autograph, please?
Her 7 evil ex-boyfriends. So what happens is, as he's dating her, these guys appear, and it's ex-boyfriend. Well, I shouldn't say ex-boyfriend.
Situations.
I should just say exes, because one of them turns out to be a girl.
Oh,
right.
Yes,
and so the exes all show up, and they're there to battle Scott Pilgrim.
Well, over the course of the movie.
Over the course of the movie,
because he doesn't actively go after them, right?
Well, and he doesn't even realize what's going on until about the 4th one shows up.
Right.
And then he realizes that it's all of her ex-boyfriends, and she goes, "Well, how many do you have?" And that's when she tells him about the curse that you have to defeat
all 7
evil exes. And it is so funny. And like the action, like the fighting scenes, they have, I mean, it's like,
it's all video game fighting.
But it's kung fu level fighting, like even with katanas and stuff. And like, it's just so funny, like what happens. And there's a lot of funny cuts in there, like that they take out of there that just, it makes you so laugh. And I can watch this movie over and over again and see how many awesome little subtle things Edgar Wright put into this movie. And it was sad because they were hoping to do a Scott Pilgrim 2 and a Scott Pilgrim 3, but it did horrible. It did like $14 million at the box office.
But it was cheap to make too.
I don't know. There's a lot of special effects in this movie.
Yeah.
Oh, there's a lot of special effects.
Well, but most of it's shot in like Canadian alleys and warehouses. And stuff,
I think it's been a while since you've seen this. Trust me, I've seen this probably 20 times.
I've been holding off on it because I wanted to introduce my 16-year-old to it.
Oh,
so
he's gonna love it.
It's on the list.
He's gonna love it. So I highly recommend this movie. Girls loved it. My kids loved it. They've watched it 3-4 times.
I've seen it a lot, but it's been a while. But
I've seen this movie
seen it at least twice.
I've seen it like 20 times.
20 times?
20 times, yeah.
How do you find time to watch all these movies and watch one 20 times? But it must be a really good movie then.
Yeah, just watch it. I mean, yeah.
The soundtrack alone is amazing.
The soundtrack is amazing. Oh, yeah.
You're going to drop a ba-bomb or something. I mean, there's just so many songs that come out of it. Like, you can't stop singing this.
There's a bass battle that's amazing with him and Brandon Routh, that they have a bass battle too. He battles these two like Asian DJs that were twin brothers, and they're DJing. And I mean, and then the Indian guy comes down, Patel, his name is something Patel, and he comes down, and it's like a Bollywood scene, when they fight each other.
He has to like dance it out or something like that.
It's just so amazing, So it's really good. I'm glowing because when I talk about this movie, it's just amazing.
Yeah.
So I love Scott Pilgrim, and there you have it. 16 different movies
not any duplicates
to consider watching, because we think they are underrated, overlooked
gems,
but they are all so good.
Hidden gems.
Good.
And actually, most people, if you throw all these together, there's such a variety. It appeals to a lot of different people. We weren't like all action movies or all comedies or there's nothing.
I have horror.
They're all jumping.
Comedy,
we're jumping all over the place.
Yeah.
So literally, somebody could take this list and have a great 3 months of watching movies.
Take the 16 movies that we're going to list right here. All 16. Screenshot this. Screenshot it.
Rolling off the screen.
Screenshot this. Go watch these movies and then post in the comments what you thought about these movies. Or if you want to add some movies that we missed that are overlooked, underrated. I know. I told Dane,
I said, done probably 50
we could have done 50 each, you know what I mean? So we want to hear what you think are underrated and overlooked. List them down there. And if you do that by this date, then you have a chance to win The Last Night in Soho, which critics are saying is already one of the most underrated, overlooked movies of 2021. So there you go.
So subscribe, as we've already asked many times. Please subscribe.
Like the video too.
Yeah.
It doesn't hurt you to just click like. Click like.
Well, we hope everyone likes it.
Yeah, we hope you like it.
Stick onto this channel because you'll soon be seeing the Act 3 of this movie's week.
Last Night in Soho. I think you forgot the title. So the
I should have looked down here.
This movie right here.
Yeah, I should have looked right at the liquor.
Yeah,
but
there you go.
We will be doing our, what do we call it now? Our in-depth analysis. Our
in long form review.
Oh, that's right, long form review.
Yeah. Well, in Act 3, we'll tell you more about the new the genre we're claiming now. So, all right. So thanks for watching Act 2. Comment. See you in Act 3.